Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to week 2 of drama with Miss Gareth at the Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you tuned in last Friday for our first week where we talked a little bit about what is theater. And we explored jobs that there are in the theater, and then we did a little bit of playwriting. So we were able to create our own scene with 2 characters, and we had a lot of fun doing it. If you didn't tune in last week, that's okay. Thank you for joining us this week. I'm really excited to get started with you. So I'm going to do a little screen share here. Like I did last week, I have a PowerPoint that I want to show you. There we go. So hopefully you'll be able to see that on your screen. So as you can see here, yes, welcome. This is Theater, Dramatic Storytelling, Week 2 out of 4. And again, my name is Miss Gareth. I am an artist and also a teaching artist here at JCAL. I love teaching drama to students. I've been teaching since about 2016. And now I'm teaching here on Zoom at JCAL. So it's a brand new platform that I'm actually enjoying a lot. And I hope you have been enjoying these online sessions as well at home while we are sheltering in place and staying safe. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a expectation for what we're going to be doing this week in class. This is week 2 out of 4. So we're going to start off with just a little bit of review from what I was talking about last week. There are 4 different branches of theater, 4 different types of jobs you can have when you're working in the theater. So we're just gonna refresh our memories a little bit with that. After that, we are going to concentrate on acting, which is one of those 4 branches. So we're going to examine what it takes to be an actor, what kind of training these people have. We're going to look at some famous actors that you may recognize. And then we're going to do a little bit of acting ourselves. So we're going to end up getting up on our feet. So if you have a little bit of room in your space, make sure that you are having you don't have a lot of things that you can bump into, because we're going to be using our bodies and our voices. We're going to start off with a brief warm-up, and then we're going to get into character building. So what does it mean to create a character, to play someone who sounds different than you, who looks different than you, who acts different than you? So I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about how to do that, how to build your own character from scratch. So I'm really excited about getting started here. So this is our little review from last week, right? So if you see that picture there in the middle, you said that there are 2 masks, right? There's one mask there that looks like it's happy and one mask that looks like it's sad. That is kind of the international symbol for theater. So when you see that symbol, okay, theater, that means on stage, right? And think Broadway, right? So those 2 masks, they became the symbol for theater because back when theater was first invented in ancient Greece, most Greek actors wore masks on their faces. It was just a traditional way of telling stories. They had, masks that symbolized different expressions, right? Like the happy one and the sad one. People think that they wore masks also partly to project their voices because they don't have microphones, they don't have modern technology that we have now to make sure that we're heard on stage. So they actually made masks that kind of were like microphones that kind of jutted out like this. So it can help them project their voice out to the audience so they can see them. And then of course you've got the little stage there in the background. So that's our symbol for theater. Now we talked about having 4 different types of jobs in the theater. I wonder if you can think of them because I'm going to put them up on the screen now. Here they are. Aha, okay, so in the top left, yes, we have actors, right? these are the people who are in the spotlight. They're on stage telling that story of Cinderella or Hamilton or West Side Story, right? They are the characters that we know and love. Then at the bottom below that, we have the designers. These are the people that make the costumes for the actors wear. They also make what are called props, which are things that the actors hold or use. And they also design the lights, make sure that the lighting looks good. And then we also have set designers. So we have people designing the background or the locations of where these things are taking place in the story. Then at the top right, we have directors. Those are the people that are in charge of telling the actors and the designers kind of what their vision is for the story. So for the actors, they're telling the actors how to move, right? Where they should move on the stage at certain parts in the story. They're telling the designers how they want the costumes to look, how they want the lights to look, right? So the directors kind of hold that big vision, right, for how they tell the story. Then at the bottom, we have the playwrights, right? All plays begin with a playwright, yeah. So these are, of course, the people who are writing our stories. They're creating dialogue for the actors, and they follow a set story structure, which we talked about last week, starting with introducing the who, what, when, and where, right? Who our characters are. Usually there's a main character. Where the story takes place, the location, and then there's a conflict, right? Ooh, some kind of problem that the actor comes across that has to be solved. So those are our 4 branches of theater, right? Very good. Okay, so now that we've done a little bit of review, our concentration today is going to be on actors. So I'm an actor, so this is the branch that I know the most about, because I've been performing since I was very young, since I was a child. I'd like to tell you that anybody can be an actor. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, or you come from a big family or a small family. Your background really doesn't matter when you're an actor, because when you're performing a different character, all of that can go away. Nobody's really judging you or thinking you about who you are or where you come from, because you're playing somebody different. So as long as you can play that character believably, you're going to be great. It doesn't really matter, there aren't some people who are maybe, more appropriate to be actors than others. It really is for everybody, and I truly, truly believe that when I teach drama as well. Any of my students, if they want to pursue this just for fun, or they have dreams about being on Broadway one day, or in movies, or on TV, I say totally go for it. Anybody should be allowed to do that if they work hard. And that's the other thing about acting, is it takes a lot of practice. I started from a very young age. Like I said before, I did some theater camps. I was a student at a lot of different camps like JCAL, and I was with a lot of students, like other young actors my age. I had acting teachers, I had singing teachers, I had dance teachers, and they all really helped me learn more about my body and about my voice, how I can project and how I can be really expressive on stage. And I used to have pretty bad stage fright, actually. So stage fright, of course, is when you're about to get on stage and your heart starts beating really, really fast, and you think, oh no, can I really do this? So, but the more I practiced, the more I got used to being on stage, and my stage fright went away. So, for your first time being on stage, of course, it's okay to be scared. It's an exciting thing. But as you practice more, that will go away, and you'll start to enjoy it more and more and more. So that's the main thing I say for acting. If you want to be an actor, go for it. Just make sure that you practice, and you'll get better. Like with anything, like with playing a sport or learning a really hard math problem. It just takes practice, and you'll get better. Great. So I'm going to screen share again. And we're going to talk a little bit about some famous actors that you may be familiar with. Aha, okay, so I've got two actors up there on the screen. You may recognize one of them or both of them, or you may be like, who is this, Miss Gareth? Who are these people that I'm seeing? That's okay. We're going to talk about both of them. Let's start with the guy over on the left with the earrings. That is Will Smith, okay? So Will Smith is an actor. He's been in lots of movies. Actually, I think he started out being a rapper, if you can believe it. He used to be a rapper about 20-ish years ago. And then he was on a TV show called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he played a really funny character. And then since then, he's got to do a lot of different movies. And his whole family is famous now because he has 2 kids, and they're both actors and involved in music too. But he's become really, really successful. I don't know if he's done too much stage acting for theater. That's something I want to learn a little bit more about. But I think, you know, because he's a really good screen actor, I imagine that if he were to go on stage, he would be pretty good. So that's Will Smith on the left. And then on the right is an actor called Lin-Manuel Miranda. So that name may not be familiar to you. He's from New York City. Actually, he grew up in Washington Heights. And he is the creator and the main actor in the Broadway show Hamilton. Okay, so you may have heard of that show. It's a very, very famous Broadway musical. So in addition to acting in it as the lead, he also wrote all the music, and he wrote the story. So he's also the playwright in this situation. But he started out mainly as a performer. So I've also included, right, some characters that these actors have played below, okay? So you may see now, okay, I've seen the Aladdin movie. That was the genie in the newest Aladdin movie. Will Smith played him. As you can see, he looks pretty different than that picture above, right? So he's really in character there. That's just you know, frozen image from the movie. But of course, he's got blue skin. He looks totally different, and he's got a very expressive look on his face, right? I think he's talking to Aladdin here, but he's in character, right? He's performing, so he moves and he sounds different than Will Smith the person. That's because he's in character. Same with Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's that's a shot, a photo of him in the show Hamilton. So you can see, you know, he's got a different costume on, but even look at his posture, right? The way that he's changed how he stands, right? It's a very determined look, right? And he's got his chin up and he's proud, you know. So you can see that he's in character as well. He's not Lin-Manuel Miranda, he is that character in Hamilton. He's a different person. So that's one of the cool things that I love about acting, is that really you can transform into a totally different person. So those are some 2 examples of famous actors. And now we're going to talk about character. What is character, right? So when you're creating a character as an actor, let's say you've been cast in a show, and you are playing someone who's way different from you as a person, right? They may be a different age than you. They may be a different gender, which is okay, right? I have played characters who were male in my life. I play them with the same kind of integrity and truth that I play female characters. Sometimes they come from a different background as you. Sometimes they're an animal, right? Sometimes they're not even human. But you have to focus on 3 main things as an actor, 3 things that you need to change to make this character different from who you are as a person. And the first thing is your voice, right? So I'm talking normally as me, as Miss Gareth, but a character, if I were to play a character who was a witch, right? He might talk like this, which is different from how I speak, right? Just as an example. The second thing that you need to change is your body, right? So if that witch character is maybe really old, right? So I would normally, I'm gonna stop screen sharing here and demonstrate for you. If that character of the witch is very old, right? So this is how I stand and walk normally. That witch character may be hunched over. She's looking for something, maybe some children that she can play a trick on, right? So I'm changing my body here. I'm getting hunched over, arching my back and pulling my shoulders forward, right? So I'm changing the way that I move when I'm playing this witch character. And the last thing that you need to change is your personality. This is kind of a confusing thing to talk about, but it mainly just means how what your character likes and dislikes, right? So as me, Miss Gareth, one of my favorite foods is sushi, right? Now, if I were to play a witch character, I don't know, maybe her favorite food would be stew, some kind of like evil stew with green leaves in it and gross things. Maybe she eats like something really gross, like eyeballs. But you can be creative with it. So those are the three things you need to change as your character. So the characters we had in our play last week were a grandmother and a grandson, right? So those are two different characters. They're two different genders, two different ages. They were at the beach having a great time, and suddenly, a shark arrived. And the son could see the shark fin on the shore, on the water. So they said, oh no, what do we do? And they decided to run away. So those were our two characters in our play. So now we are going to try out what it would be like to play both of those characters. So we're going to start with a little bit of a warm up. Let me get my screen share one more time. To do, we're going to get on our feet here. So I'm actually going to move my computer so that there's more room. Let's see. Hopefully you can see me okay. Alrighty, and we are going to just do a brief warm up with our voices. We'll start with our voice, okay? Very important to warm up your voice before you start performing, because sometimes if you're really loud on stage and you haven't warmed up before, you can actually really hurt your vocal cords. They're very, very delicate thing. So you have to warm up your voice so that you don't. So I'd like for you to just there we go. Okay, so I'd love for you to get on your feet if you're still with me, and I'd like for you to just repeat a couple of these basic vocal exercises that we're going to do. It's going to be a call and response. Okay, so I will start, and then I'll give you a little bit of time to repeat. Okay, so starting with our mouth. Here we go. Ba, da, ga, ba, da, ga, ba-digga, 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 ba-digga. Good. Warming up those lips and mouth. Next one. Very good. Okay, my mouth feels nice and warm. Last one. Mm. 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 It's hard. Good. Okay, so now we're going to warm up all the facial muscles. So make a really tiny face like you just took a bite out of a lemon. Okay, tiny face. Good. And now make a really big face like you're a lion yawning. Okay. Good. Really small face. Big face. Last one. Lemon. Lion. Very good. Okay. Last one, we're going to do a couple of tongue twisters. So these are meant to really trip you up. They're difficult to say. So start with them slow, and if you mess up, it's okay. All right. She sells seashells by the seashore. Try it. She sells seashells by the seashore. Good. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Try that a little faster. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Whew. Very nice. Good. So like I said before, an actor needs to change their voice if they're going to play a character who's different from them. Okay. So we're going to explore different types of voices that we can use. We're going to explore the range of our voice. So we're going to think of our voice as actually living in different parts of our body to help us out. So we're going to start with the very top of our head. So we're going to think about our voice traveling all the way up to the top. And it's a very high voice, isn't it? Try it. The sound is coming out the top of your head, like this. Whee! Wow, a high voice, and it's a very silly voice, isn't it? So this voice, I wonder what kind of character would have this voice. Lots of different options here, right? Maybe a little mouse is what I'm thinking of. A little mouse who doesn't talk very loud and is maybe kind of timid. Good. Or maybe, I don't know, another kind of animal that's like small and meek, right? You could also think of, I don't know, if there's like a little angel on somebody's shoulder or a voice who's telling them what to do, right? They could have a voice like that. Very good. So that's our top of the head voice. Now we're going to move down to our nose. Okay, so you're going to think about the sound coming out of your nose. It's a very nasal sound. This is a very funny sound as well, isn't it? Very funny voice indeed. Ha ha ha, so silly. Good. So try that out, talking out of your nose right there, okay? So that voice, to me, what kind of character would have that voice? I don't know. Maybe a scientist, right? Someone who works in a science lab, and maybe people think he's a geek or a nerd. Actually, a witch could have that kind of voice, right? I was using that, ooh, my little pretty voice when I was playing the witch character earlier. Or maybe, yeah, some other kind of villain character. I don't know, maybe a vampire, or yeah, a crazy scientist of some kind. Good. Now we're going to move down to our throat, okay? So we're going to have a lower voice for this because it's lower in our body and it's very breathy. So we're not straining here. It's also very easygoing and relaxed. And maybe I think about an old-time movie star when I use this voice. A very glamorous type, maybe a supermodel, right? Or someone with a lot of power who doesn't really need to go anywhere. She's relaxed and takes her time. And then the last voice we're going to use is down here in our bellies. Oh, it's very low. I like to think of Santa Claus when I use this voice. Ho, 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 right? Or a giant, someone who's very large and low. Good. So those are our different types of voices that we can use. Let's move on now to our bodies, okay? So in addition to making a choice about what voice you can use as a character, you can also think about your body. Let me see if I can move this so you can see me better. Here we go. There we go. Okay, great. So again, with going to think about the way we walk leading from different parts of our body. And again, we're going to start at the top of our head. So if you have some space around you, think about a string coming out of your head and pulling you forward as you walk on your forehead now, okay? On your forehead. So your forehead is leading. Okay? Kind of bringing your whole body a little bit forward. And you can play with the speed of this walking. You can think about walking very slowly or walking very fast, right? Again, leading with the forehead. So, what kind of character walks like this, right? Obviously, it's very different from how I walk as Gareth. And I think about characters who walk like this. They're thinking about something, right? These characters might be a little bit older, right? Hunched over. They don't have very good posture. Maybe they're a detective and they're looking for something. Yeah. Or maybe that was actually the body that I used for the witch character, right? As our grandma character in our scene with the grandma and grandpa and the shark, I think I would use this body position. And maybe I would use my nose voice as well to play that old grandma character, right? So wow, I've already created a whole different character for me just by thinking about putting my voice in a different part of my body and leading with a different body. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we're going to think about our chin now as the point at which the string is coming out. So we are leading with our chin, and already it's very different from how we were walking before, right? Our chins are sticking out. And what kind of character would walk this way? Try it out. You can try fast or slow. I think a character like this is very proud, right? Maybe someone who has very high status, like a king or a queen, would walk this way. Or maybe a teacher or a principal of a school. Keeping her chin out, very composed, very well-rounded, well-educated, things like that. So those are, but again, think about different options. There's no right or wrong answer here. If this makes you feel a different way than how I felt, that's totally okay. It's your body, and all performers are different, right? Good. So we've got our forehead voice and our chin, and now we're going to move on to our chest. Okay. So we're going to think of that string coming out of our chest and walking with our chest out. Yes. Oh, another very proud kind of posture here, but it's different from the chin in a lot of ways. Check it out. Move around the space, leading with that chest area or collarbone, as I like to say. Yes. Okay. How do I feel when I'm in this kind of character? I feel very strong here, right? So maybe I'm a bodybuilder kind of character. I feel a lot younger too, so maybe this would be good for my grandson character. If I were to play the grandson in our play, I would have him lead with his chest because he's young and he's excited to be at the beach, right? And he's younger than me, so he's very youthful and hopeful and excited, right? Very good. Our last one is going to be leading with our bellies, okay? So if we're leading with our bellies out like this, how does this make us feel? What kind of character are we here? Well, I think this is a person who maybe eats a lot, right? If their bellies are jutting out this way, again, maybe it's like a Santa Claus character, right? Ho, 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 right? Feeling his big belly. Or maybe it's a woman who is pregnant, right? So she's expecting a baby. These are generally characters who walk a little bit slower, right? They might be lazy, or they might just really enjoy food, right? Maybe a baker or a cook walks this way, or I don't know, a sumo wrestler, somebody like that, right? So those are all of our different types of characters that we can explore through changing our voice and our body. So hopefully you've learned a lot today about performing, about acting. These tools can help you when you are on stage, right? Because they help you kind of lose yourself in the character. If you're really nervous on stage, just think about those tools, right? What kind of voice am I using? How am I using my body? And concentrating on those will put your focus away from being nervous, having stage fright. So that concludes everything for today. I had a really great time with you today, and hopefully I will see you next week at the same time, Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.